All right, great. So we're going to go through 2 slides real quick, and then we're going to introduce our coaches. The webinar that we're going to go through tonight is going to cover a bunch of things, the first thing of which is finding the right fit. This is something that's really important to the message that FLG tries to convey. You know, we want to make sure that our parents don't lose sight of why they're attending college. We don't want it to be all about lacrosse. While you are part of our program, and a lot of the reason that you came here is because of your abilities on the field, you know, there's a lot of things that go into kind of choosing that right fit for your college education, and we're going to go through those things as we move through the presentation. And one thing about the recruiting process in general can be really intense, but we also want our families to enjoy it because it can be a really good experience to kind of take a deep breath, sit back, and get a chance to do that. So Bob, we were talking earlier about how it can get a little too intense, but there's also ways to pull back and, you know, enjoy it. Experience.
When I did it with my daughter, you know, we didn't really take a lot of extra time to, you know, vacation on any of the trips to the schools, but you know, I think a lot of it is attitude and just kind of your mindset. If you're looking at it as a fun thing and something that's positive, you know, it doesn't seem like stress. It doesn't seem, you know, to be a negative thing. You're just kind of going and looking at it all as an adventure, and you know, you're trying to learn about school, learn about the programs, and you just kind of look at it that way, and it leads you to good things as opposed to, you know, feeling pressure, feeling, you know, as though, you know, you have a weight on you all the time, and you're always hustling to, you know, to the next place. So I think if families can do that and just kind of keep it on a positive level, they'll be, you know, they'll be much happier in the end.
And also, in finding that right fit, it's really important that, you know, you kind of work together as a family, like we mentioned, and you got to promote yourself. You know, I was talking a little bit earlier to the guys over at Lacrosse Recruits, and we talk about like the, you know, the genesis and the change, or the change for that matter, of like where the recruiting process was to where it is today. You know, back then it was really like your play spoke for itself, and that was it. You know, hopefully you had a coach to promote you. But now there's a lot of opportunities, and there's different ways to promote yourself, which we'll get into. But that's really important too in terms of finding the right school for you. And the last piece we just want to highlight before we kind of get into the crux of the presentation is dropping the D's. You know, we have coaches from different divisions here tonight, but when you kind of evaluate schools and do your research, you know, forget about the whole division, I got to play Division I, or I'm going D3. You know, think about the right school or program for you. Think about even the right conference that might be a nice fit for you based on the 4 criteria, which we're going to talk about really quickly, which is your academics, your financial situation, you know, where you fit socially, and where you fit athletically. So this can be in a changing priority order. You know, some coaches, you know, Coach Cooke at Mercyhurst might feel as though it's most important that, you know, girls should fit in, you know, at the school. You know, so that social aspect. Not talking about going out and have a good time, but more like enjoying where you are. You know, connecting with your peers, connecting with your teammates. That's really important, because if you're not happy, you know, maybe you're not going to last at the school well. You know, maybe Coach Lee might feel as though, you know, the academic piece is really important. And again, I'm not speaking for them. I'm just kind of using that as an example because, you know, coaches might feel a little differently as it relates to the priorities of these 4 things. And the same goes for you as a family. You might financially, like, that's the #1 driving factor as to where, you know, you or your brother or, you know, anyone in your family goes to school. So it's really important that you guys discuss this as a family, and also ask coaches as you go through the process, you know, what, you know, where they rank in terms of, you know, these 4 factors and finding that right fit. So we are going to utilize pretty much the rest of the presentation here to just kind of have an open forum and ask some questions to the 3 awesome college coaches we got here tonight. So we want to take advantage of their time, and I really appreciate you guys coming on board. We'll give a quick intro, and then we'll allow you guys just to introduce yourselves and get any type of background. Could be quick, you know, could be anything. So we got Coach TK, as they call her, Tanya Kotowicz. Sorry. She just got the head coaching job over at Quinnipiac on board. She's going to represent the Division I. And then for the D2, we got Coach Kevin Cooke, who's the head women's lacrosse coach over at Mercyhurst. And you can see in the background there, 2016 conference champs, right, last year? 2015, I guess, 16. And then in our D3 representation, we got Alice Lee, who's the assistant women's lacrosse coach over at Middlebury, national champs last year. Oh, yeah. Right on, right on. So I guess TK, you want to start real quick, just give a little background of yourself and let everyone know who you are.
Sure. Tanya Kotowicz. I'm the head coach at Quinnipiac. I played at UConn and have been coaching for the last 10 years. Have been a part of a lot of different conferences, all Division I, but definitely have a passion for coaching, and I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Coach Cooke, you want to give us a little background?
Sure. Actually, originally from Rochester, New York. I've been coaching ever since about 1993. So it's been about 23 years or so. It's been a while, and played at RIT for 3 years. Decided, in the long run, coaching was probably the better choice for me. So I, made a move from player to coach, and been coaching women's lacrosse ever since.
Awesome. Alice?
My name's Alice Lee. I played at Central Connecticut State University, and upon graduation, I started coaching at Buffalo State College for a couple of years, then coached at Amherst College for a few years, and currently at Middlebury College. So I've coached all Division III schools.
All right, great. So we are going to continue on in regards to finding that right fit. We'll start with a couple questions to kick us off. The first one of which we want to talk about, the level of commitment that you guys kind of demand of your athletes throughout the year. You can talk, fall, winter, spring. You can talk just in season. It's really up to you. I just want to start with Coach Cooke on this question. In regards to your athletes, what do you kind of demand in regards to commitment?
Sure. It is kind of broken down into 3 separate categories. You have fall ball, and for us, when you're playing, during our fall ball season, the NCAA allows us 20 hours per week. We probably hit maybe 12 to 14, somewhere in that range. And of those 12 to 14, we practice 3 to 4 times a week. The NCAA allows us 5 contest dates. This past year, we used 3 of those. But in addition to your regular practices 3 to 4 times a week, we're gonna run, we're gonna lift, we're gonna condition, also in the weight room. And then once, like this year, our fall ball ended right around October 22nd, 23rd, somewhere in that range. And then we basically the NCAA is really, we're really fortunate. We're allowed 8 hours per week with our student athletes with running, lifting, conditioning, individual skill work. And of those 8 hours, we probably hit right around 6 or so. And then maybe once the season rolls around, I look at preseason as one of those things where you have to look at, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So for us, we started January 15th, and our first game is until March 4th. So we're not going 6 days a week. We go 5 days a week. What I try to do is give the kids, a couple days off, especially weekdays, because those are, normally, toughest days academically. So that's kind of what we do. And then once the season starts, for us, really gets going around March 18th or so, it seems like there's a game like every 2 or 3, 4 days. So, it's really, save them now to make sure that we've got them down, during the course of the last part of the season.
Sure, and I like the idea of kind of breaking up into 3s. I never really heard that before. Alice, is it kind of similar in your program too, with how you kind of like break up the year for your student athletes?
Yeah, so what's unique about our program, well, unique to the NESCAC conference, is that we are not allowed a fall ball in our conference. So the coaches are not working with the athletes until February 15th, which is about 3 weeks away. So we're super psyched about that. So that being said, in the fall, typically the girls are running their own captain's practices. They're doing strength and conditioning sessions with our lift coach. They're running on their own. So a lot of it is student-driven, which is awesome because, it's kind of like Little Leagues all over again, or like going to the sand lot and you're organizing your own practice time. So what we find and what's incredible about that is by the time February 15th rolls around, they are so ready to go. They're so fired up to finally be able to work with the coaching staff and have, those more organized practices. And once season starts, we have about less than 2 weeks probably until our first game. So it's a really quick preseason. Our expectation is that throughout the fall and the winter, the girls are putting in the time and they're staying fit. So then once February 15th hits, we are hitting the ground running. So, you know, in season, we go from 5 to 6 days a week. We have to give them a day off again, NCAA rules. So, but yeah, and we're practicing about 2 hours a day, sometimes 2:15, and we have 2 games a week. So once season hits, it's nice and structured.
Nice. And a quick question for TK and Coach TK here in regards to just like how you communicate to some of like your potential recruits about the commitment. Like, are you guys very real about it? Because the perception is Division I, like, you know, it's not an easy job. You know, there's a lot of hours that go into it, and like Coach Cooke mentioned, even in Division II schools, like there's a lot that goes into this. Like, do you clearly communicate that when you meet with recruits, or do you kind of sugarcoat it a little bit so you kind of play it down? How does that work?
Yeah, not at our program. We're very honest. We wear our heart on our sleeve, so you're getting what we say. You know, I think at the Division I level, even at that level, there's so many different levels of commitment. So really what we try to encourage is just ask questions, ask the right questions. Our staff, my staff and I, we talk about just giving them everything possible that could either make or break their decision, because I want to be around happy players. So to get players to campus and have them come on board and then be unhappy is, you know, a bad move on my part, but also a bad move on the players' part for not asking those questions.
Sure.